The room laughed at the right moment. Not loudly, not cruelly, just enough to signal agreement. He noticed that first, the timing. The way the sound arrived half a second after the words, as if everyone had briefly checked to see whether laughter was appropriate before offering it. He stands with his hands loosely folded, a drink untouched, watching the small choreography of approval play out around him. She is radiant tonight, confident, centered, the kind of ease that comes from knowing the room is already on your side. When she speaks, people lean in. When she pauses, they wait. He is mentioned the way one mentions a background detail. Necessary, unexamined. Someone claps him on the shoulder. Another person smiles with sympathy rather than interest. He nods when expected to nod. The floor-to-ceiling windows reflect the scene back at him, a version of himself already edited down to something simpler. No one asks questions. They don't need to. The story has been told so many times it no longer requires explanation. Later, in the elevator, she checks her phone while the doors close. Notifications stack themselves in neat lines. Compliments. Photos. Proof. You were quiet, she says, not looking up. I usually am. She smiles at that, faintly. It works for you. The ride down feels longer than the ride up. The building hums around them, indifferent. At home, shoes by the door, lights half on. The familiar arrangement of things that haven't been argued into place because there was never time. She moves through the space as if it were an extension of her momentum, already halfway into tomorrow. He stays behind for a moment, keys still in his hand. It isn't the comment that stays with him. It's the ease of it, the way it landed without resistance, the way it assumed an entire structure that had never been formally agreed upon but is nonetheless enforced daily. He thinks about how many times he's corrected small misunderstandings by letting them persist. How often silence has been interpreted as absence rather than restraint. In his office, the light is low. He doesn't turn on the overhead lamp. He sits, jacket still on, listening to the house settle. Somewhere down the hall, she laughs into the phone. The sound is sharp, victorious. He reaches into his pocket and sets something on the desk. It makes a soft, deliberate sound when it touches the wood. He doesn't open anything yet. Doesn't check balances. Doesn't prepare explanations. He already knows what's there. The question is no longer whether the story will change, but where it will begin. He stands, closes the door, and walks back toward the living room. The firm's anniversary reception occupies the entire 22nd floor. Glass walls on 3 sides, the city spread out like proof of something. Jonah follows Maribel through the crowd, watching her navigate with the precision of someone who has rehearsed this exact performance before. She stops near a cluster of senior partners. One of them, Marcus, maybe, Jonah forgets, gestures broadly with his drink. Maribel laughs at the exact right moment, touches the woman beside her lightly on the arm. The conversation folds around her. Jonah stands slightly behind and to the left, close enough to be included, far enough not to interrupt. And this must be your husband, the woman says, turning toward him with the kind of smile that precedes politeness rather than interest. Jonah, Maribel says. He does consulting work. The phrase lands with the weight of something rehearsed. Consulting has become her container for everything she doesn't want to explain or can't be bothered to remember. Fascinating, Marcus says, though his eyes have already moved past Jonah towards someone more relevant. What kind of consulting? The woman asks, because she is kinder or more dutiful than Marcus. Jonah opens his mouth, but Maribel answers first. Strategy mostly. Small clients. It keeps him busy. She says it the way someone might describe a hobby. Something that fills time without demanding respect. The woman nods. Marcus has already turned away entirely, pulling Maribel into a conversation about quarterly targets and restructuring. Jonah listens to fragments, numbers, names, timelines, and realizes he is no longer part of the circle. He has been edited out through positioning alone. He takes half a step back. No one notices. Across the room, someone drops a glass. The sound cuts through the noise briefly, then dissolves. Waitstaff appear with towels and efficiency. The disruption is absorbed within seconds. Maribel glances back once, catches his eye, and gives him a look he has learned to read as behave. Or maybe don't embarrass me. The distinction has become irrelevant. He moves toward the windows. The city below is all light and distance, movement abstracted into patterns. He wonders if anyone down there is also standing at a party they didn't choose, waiting for permission to leave. You look lost. Jonah turns. A younger man, late 20s, expensive suit, the kind of confidence that comes from never doubting you're welcome, holds 2 drinks. One of these is extra, the man says. Unless you already have one. Jonah glances at his own glass. Still full. He's been holding it for 40 minutes without drinking. I'm good, Jonah says. The man shrugs, drinks from both. Fair enough. I'm Ryan. You're with Maribel, right? Her husband. Right. She mentioned you. Ryan says it like he's confirming a minor detail. Must be nice, having someone crushing it like that. Takes the pressure off. Jonah doesn't respond immediately. He watches Ryan's face for irony and finds none. The comment is delivered as observation, maybe even compliment. Yeah, Jonah says finally. It does. Ryan nods, satisfied, and drifts back toward the center of the room where the real conversations are happening. Maribel finds him 20 minutes later. She is flushed with success, eyes bright. We should go soon, she says. I have an early call. In the elevator, she scrolls through her phone, thumbs moving quickly. Someone has already posted photos. She shows him one, her mid-laugh, surrounded by colleagues, the frame carefully excluding him. God, I look good, she says. He doesn't disagree. The parking garage is cold and echoey. Their footsteps sound louder than they should. Maribel talks the entire way to the car, recapping victories, dissecting comments, planning follow-ups. Her voice fills the space completely. Jonah unlocks the car, slides into the driver's seat, adjusts the mirror. She is still talking when he starts the engine. He pulls out of the garage and onto the street, merging into traffic that moves with its own indifferent rhythm. Maribel's voice continues beside him, animated, certain. He keeps his hands steady on the wheel and his eyes on the road. At a red light, she finally pauses. You could have tried harder tonight, she says. He glances at her. Tried harder how? I don't know. Engaged more. You just stood there. She scrolls through another photo. People notice these things. The light turns green. He accelerates smoothly. What would you have wanted me to say? She exhales through her nose. That's not the point. It's about presence. Energy. She locks her phone. You make me look like I'm dragging you around. He considers this. Tries to locate the moment when his silence became a performance of inadequacy rather than simple preference. I didn't realize, he says. Well, now you do. The rest of the drive passes without conversation. Maribel returns to her phone. Jonah watches the streets blur past, familiar and distant at once. At home, she disappears into the bedroom before he's finished parking. By the time he comes inside, she's already on a call, voice bright again, laughing at something someone said. He sets his keys on the counter, loosens his tie. The apartment is decorated in a style Maribel chose 3 years ago. Neutral tones, clean lines, nothing that suggests argument or compromise. He realizes he cannot remember the last time he objected to anything about this space. He stands in the kitchen, jacket still on, listening to her voice carry through the walls. Somewhere in the distance, a siren passes. Then silence. He walks to his office and closes the door. Saturday morning arrives with the particular quiet of no obligations. Jonah wakes to find Maribel's side of the bed already empty, sheets pulled tight, as if she was never there. He finds her in the kitchen, laptop open, phone propped against a water bottle. She's on a video call, nodding at someone's screen. When she sees him, she raises one finger, wait, and returns her attention to the meeting. Jonah pours coffee, stands by the counter, waits. The call ends after 12 minutes. Maribel closes the laptop with a satisfied click. Regional wants to move up the timeline, she says, as if continuing a conversation they were already having. Which is fine. Better, actually. Gets us ahead of Q4. Okay, Jonah says. She looks at him then, really looks, and frowns slightly. You're still in your shirt from yesterday. He glances down. She's right. He fell asleep in his office chair, woke at 4 a.m., moved to the bed without changing. I'll shower, he says. Please do. She's already opening her laptop again. Also, we need to talk about Thanksgiving. He sets his mug down. What about it? Your sister wants us to come to Denver. I already told her no. Jonah processes this. When did you talk to my sister? She texted Thursday. I responded. Maribel scrolls through something, distracted. We can't do Denver this year. I have the leadership offsite the week after. I need that weekend to prep. You told her we can't come. I told her we're hosting instead. Your parents can fly here. It's easier. He watches her type, the keystrokes quick and certain. Decisions made, communicated, finalized without his involvement becoming relevant. Did you ask if I wanted to host? He says. She stops typing. Looks up. Do you not want to host? That's not. Because if you have a problem with it, you can call your sister back and explain why we're suddenly unavailable. Her tone sharpens. I'm trying to make this work for everyone. He doesn't respond. The argument she's offering feels like a trap designed to prove a point he hasn't made yet. That's what I thought, she says, returning to her screen. Jonah picks up his coffee and walks toward the bathroom. Behind him, Maribel's typing resumes, steady and uninterrupted. The shower runs hot. He stands under it longer than necessary, watching steam accumulate on the glass. When he emerges, she's gone. A note on the counter. Gym, then brunch with Simone. Back by 3. He reads it twice. Tries to remember if she mentioned brunch before. Decides it doesn't matter. The apartment feels larger when she's not in it. He moves through rooms that belong to both of them in theory, but feel like hers in practice. The furniture, the art, the arrangement of books on shelves he never reads from. All selected by her, approved by silence. He makes toast. Eats it standing up. Throws the plate in the dishwasher. In his office, he sits at the desk and opens his laptop. The files are where he left them. Investment summaries. Account statements. Diversified holdings structured to avoid attention. Numbers that tell a story completely incompatible with the one Maribel narrates to her colleagues, her family, anyone who asks. He doesn't look at them long. Closes the laptop. The information doesn't change whether he checks it or not. His phone buzzes. A text from his sister. Mom's asking about Thanksgiving. What should I tell her? He types, we're hosting. Maribel already arranged it. 3 dots appear, then disappear, then reappear. When did you guys decide that? He stares at the question. Considers honesty. Decides against it. This morning. The dots return. Stay longer this time. Okay. I'll let Mom know. He sets the phone down. The conversation feels incomplete, but also finished. His sister knows better than to push. Maribel returns at 3:17 p.m., energized from endorphins and caffeine and whatever validation Simone provided. She's carrying shopping bags, things she didn't mention needing but apparently decided were necessary. You'll never guess who Simone saw at SoulCycle, she says, setting the bags on the couch. Jonah doesn't guess. She tells him anyway. A long story about someone's divorce, someone else's promotion, a rumor about layoffs that may or may not be true. She unpacks while she talks, a sweater, candles, something wrapped in tissue paper. I got you something, she says, pulling out a shirt still on its hanger. He looks at it. Navy blue. Expensive label. Not his style, but close enough to what he already owns that the difference won't matter. Thanks, he says. Try it on. He does. It fits. See, she says, adjusting the collar. This is better. More polished. She steps back, appraising. You should wear this to the next work thing. He looks at himself in the hallway mirror. Sees someone dressed by someone else. Sure, he says. She smiles, satisfied. Kisses him quickly on the cheek. I'm going to start on some emails. What do you want for dinner? Whatever you want. That's not an answer, Jonah. Thai, he offers. She considers. Too heavy. Let's do salads. I'll order. She's already walking away, phone in hand. The decision made and implemented before he can register whether he agreed. He stands in the hallway, still wearing the new shirt, watching her disappear into the bedroom. The apartment settles around him. Quiet except for her voice, muffled through walls, talking to someone who isn't him. He takes off the shirt carefully, hangs it in the closet next to others he didn't choose. Returns to his office. Closes the door. Maribel's mother calls on a Wednesday evening. Jonah is reading when Maribel answers, her voice immediately shifting into the particular brightness reserved for family. Yes, we're still coming Sunday, she says, pacing the living room. No, I didn't forget. Jonah didn't know they were going anywhere Sunday. He sets his book down, listens. He'll wear something nice, Mom. I'll make sure. Maribel glances at him, rolls her eyes in exaggerated solidarity, as if they're in this together. Okay, love you too. She ends the call and drops onto the couch beside him. My parents are doing that whole anniversary thing, she says. 40 years. Very sweet, very long dinner planned. Sunday, Jonah says. I mentioned it last week. You didn't. She pulls out her phone, scrolls. I definitely did. You probably weren't listening. She shows him nothing, just holds the phone as evidence of her certainty. Anyway, it starts at 6. We should leave by 5:15. He thinks about correcting her, about insisting on the fact that she never mentioned this. Then he thinks about how that conversation would go, her confident dismissal, his inability to prove a negative, the eventual conclusion that his memory is less reliable than hers. Okay, he says. Wear the navy shirt, she adds. The one I got you. Sunday arrives exactly as scheduled. They leave at 5:15. Traffic is worse than Maribel predicted, which she narrates continuously, as if Jonah is responsible for the delay or capable of fixing it. Her parents live in a house that hasn't changed in 20 years. Same furniture, same photographs in the same frames. Her father answers the door with a firm handshake and a comment about the drive. Not too bad, Jonah says. Good, good. Inside, Maribel's sister is already there with her husband, 2 children orbiting them with practiced chaos. Maribel hugs everyone, accepts compliments, gives them back with interest. Jonah shakes hands, smiles, finds a position near the wall. Dinner is formal in the way of events designed to commemorate rather than enjoy. Courses arrive with speeches between them. Maribel's father talks about commitment. Her mother cries elegantly. Everyone raises glasses. Maribel leans over during dessert. You're doing that thing again, she whispers. What thing? Looking miserable. He adjusts his expression. She pats his hand like he's a child who finally understood the instruction. Later, in the living room, the conversation fractures into smaller clusters. Maribel's brother-in-law, Derek, corners Jonah near the bookshelf. So how's work treating you? Derek asks. He's holding scotch he didn't finish, using it more as prop than beverage. Steady, Jonah says. Consulting, right? Maribel mentioned. Right. Derek nods slowly, the way people do when they're trying to fill silence with agreement. That's good. Flexible, I bet. Especially with Maribel's schedule being what it is. Jonah doesn't answer immediately. He's trying to locate the implication buried in the comment, the assumption Derek is making about who accommodates whom. It works, Jonah says finally. Must be nice. Derek continues, warming to his subject. I mean, someone's got to hold down the fort, right? Can't both be running around chasing promotions. He laughs, takes a sip. Ashley would kill me if I tried to out-earn her. Across the room, Maribel is telling a story. Her mother and sister lean in, captivated. She gestures with her wine glass, pauses for effect, delivers a punchline that lands perfectly. She's something else, Derek says, following Jonah's gaze. Always has been. Yeah, Jonah says. Derek claps him on the shoulder. You're a good sport, man. Seriously. He walks away before Jonah can decide whether to correct him. The drive home is quiet at first. Maribel scrolls through photos her sister sent, evidence of the evening, already being archived. Your dad seemed tired, Jonah says. He's fine. That's just how he looks now. She doesn't look up from her phone. Did you actually talk to anyone tonight? Or just stand there? I talked to Derek. Derek doesn't count. He talks to everyone. She locks her phone. You know what I mean. He doesn't, but he's learned that asking for clarification only extends these conversations without improving them. I'll try harder next time, he says. That's all I'm asking. At home, she goes straight to the bedroom to change. Jonah loosens his tie. The navy shirt already feels like something he wants to take off, and checks his phone. An email from a financial advisor confirming a quarterly review meeting. Another from a former colleague asking if he's still doing independent work. He deletes both without responding. Maribel emerges in pajamas, face scrubbed clean, looking younger and somehow more certain than she did at dinner. I'm exhausted, she announces. Family things always drain me. She kisses him absently, already halfway to sleep in her mind. Good night, she says. He stays up, turns on the television to something he doesn't watch, lets the sound fill the room while he sits motionless. At some point he realizes he's still wearing the navy shirt. He takes it off, folds it carefully, sets it on the arm of the couch. The television continues its noise. A show about people renovating houses they don't need, transforming spaces into versions of something aspirational. He watches without seeing. Thinks about Derek's comment. Someone's got to hold down the fort. Thinks about Maribel's dismissal. You probably weren't listening. Thinks about the script they're all reading from, the one nobody wrote, but everyone seems to know. He turns off the television. The silence that replaces it is louder than he expects. He sits in it for a long time, the navy shirt beside him, the apartment dark except for the light from the hallway. Eventually he stands, walks to his office, doesn't turn on the light, just sits at the desk in the dark, hands flat on the surface, breathing slowly. Outside, a car alarm starts, then stops. The night continues around him, indifferent. Maribel comes home on a Tuesday with the energy of someone who has already won an argument that hasn't happened yet. Jonah is in the kitchen, cutting vegetables he won't finish cooking. She drops her bag on the counter with the particular weight of proclamation. I did something, she says. He sets down the knife. Waits. I booked Lisbon. Lisbon, he repeats. The conference. In March. I've been talking about it for weeks. She pulls out her phone, shows him a confirmation screen he can't read from where he's standing. It's perfect timing. Right after the fiscal year closes. And I added 4 days. 4 days. For the conference and a long weekend. I deserve it, Jonah. This year has been insane. She's scrolling now, already looking at hotels or restaurants or something beyond the conversation they're having. The firm is covering the conference registration, but the extension is on us. Well, on me, technically. He wipes his hands on a towel. How much? Does it matter? She looks up, defensive. I'm paying for it. My bonus covers it twice over. I'm just asking. 4,000 maybe? For the hotel and flights. She says it casually, the way someone discusses an amount that doesn't require consideration. It's not a big deal. He nods slowly, tries to locate the moment when she decided this, planned it, executed it, all without mentioning it to him beyond vague references to a conference that might happen someday. You didn't think to ask if I wanted to come, he says. She blinks. To Lisbon? Yes. Jonah, it's a work conference. You'd be bored out of your mind. She sets her phone down. Plus, it's expensive. We can't both go. Someone needs to be here, keep things running. Keep what running? The house. Bills. Normal life. She says it like he's being deliberately obtuse. You know what I mean. He does. He knows exactly what she means. That his presence is interchangeable with absence. That the trip is hers, the decision, the budget, the experience, and his role is to remain, a fixed point she can return to. Okay, he says. She tilts her head, studying him. You're not upset, are you? Should I be? I don't know. You tell me. Her tone sharpens. Because I thought you'd be supportive. This is a big opportunity for me. I didn't say it wasn't. But you're doing that thing. That passive thing where you act fine, but you're clearly not fine. He picks up the knife again. Returns to cutting vegetables with careful, deliberate movements. I said okay. See? That's exactly what I'm talking about. She crosses her arms. You don't react like a normal person, Jonah. You just absorb everything. It's unsettling. He doesn't look up. The knife moves through a pepper, clean cuts, methodical. I'm fine with you going to Lisbon, he says quietly. She watches him for another moment, searching for the fight she expected to have. When it doesn't materialize, she exhales sharply. Fine. Good. She picks up her phone again. I'm going to take a bath. There's leftover chicken in the fridge if you want it. She leaves. He hears the bathroom door close, the water start running. He finishes cutting the vegetables, puts them in a container he won't use, stands at the counter, looking at the cutting board. For $1,000. Decided and spent without consultation. Not because she's cruel, but because the question of whether to consult him simply didn't occur to her. He exists in her calculations as infrastructure, not partnership. His phone buzzes. A text from the investment firm confirming a dividend deposit. The amount is more than her Lisbon trip. He dismisses the notification without opening it. In the living room, he sits on the couch, turns on the television, finds nothing worth watching but leaves it on anyway. The sound of running water continues from the bathroom. He imagines her in the tub, already thinking about Lisbon, mentally packing, planning outfits, rehearsing the version of herself she'll perform for colleagues in a city she's never seen. He wonders if she'll mention him there, if she'll explain his absence or simply not reference him at all. If someone asks about her personal life, what story will she tell? The water stops. Silence. Then her voice, muffled, talking to someone on the phone. He increases the television volume slightly. An hour later, she emerges in a robe, hair wrapped in a towel, face flushed from heat. I'm starving, she announces. Did you eat? Not yet. Let's order something. Not salad. Something good. She's already opening a delivery app. Pizza? No, too heavy. Sushi? Yes. Sushi. She orders without asking what he wants. He's learned his preferences don't survive the selection process anyway. They eat on the couch, watching a show she chose. She talks about the conference schedule, the panels she wants to attend, the people who will be there. He nods at appropriate intervals. You're sure you're okay with this? She asks suddenly, between bites. With what? The trip. Me going alone. I'm sure. She studies him again, that same searching look. Then she shrugs. Okay, good. The show continues. She laughs at something. He doesn't catch what. Later, in bed, she falls asleep quickly. He lies awake, listening to her breathe, steady and untroubled. He thinks about the money sitting in accounts she doesn't know exist, about the choices he's made to remain invisible, to let her narrative proceed unchallenged, about whether invisibility was strategy or surrender. The ceiling is blank and dark. He stares at it until the boundaries blur. Somewhere in the building, pipes groan. The heating system cycles. The city outside continues its endless motion. He doesn't sleep until after 3. When he wakes, she's already gone. A note on her pillow that says, early meeting. Coffee's made. He reads it twice, crumples it slowly, drops it in the trash on his way to the shower. The days after Lisbon is booked pass with the texture of something inevitable. Maribel researches restaurants. Jonah watches her screen glow in the dark, her face illuminated, focused on a future that doesn't include him. He doesn't mention it again. Neither does she. On Thursday, he drives to the bank. Not their shared bank, the other one, across town, the one attached to accounts that have never appeared in their joint statements. The building is generic. Glass and steel. A lobby designed to communicate stability without personality. He meets with someone named Patricia. Middle-aged. Professional. She's handled his portfolio for 6 years and has never asked questions he didn't want to answer. Everything looks strong, she says, turning her monitor so he can see. Numbers in neat columns. Growth percentages. Diversification charts. You're well positioned regardless of market movement. He nods. Studies the figures without emotion. Are we making any changes today? Patricia asks. He thinks about this. About whether accumulation still serves a purpose or has simply become habit. About what he's been waiting for. No changes, he says. She smiles. Conservative approach. I approve. The meeting lasts 17 minutes. He signs nothing. Changes nothing. Leaves with the same information he arrived with, confirmed and updated. In the parking lot, he sits in his car without starting the engine. Watches people move in and out of the building. Everyone carrying the same determined anonymity. Conducting private business in public spaces. His phone buzzes. Maribel, can you pick up dry cleaning? Need the black dress for tomorrow. He types back, sure. 3 dots appear. Disappear. No further response. He starts the car. The dry cleaner recognizes him. Calls him by name. Hands him the black dress in plastic, draped carefully over his arm. Special occasion? The woman asks. Work thing, Jonah says. She must keep you busy, the woman says, smiling. He doesn't correct her assumption about who keeps whom busy. At home, he hangs the dress in the closet. Stands there looking at it. The fabric is expensive. Probably costs more than everything he's wearing combined. Maribel will look stunning in it. She always does. He closes the closet door. In his office, he opens his laptop. Not to check accounts this time. Just to sit with the machine humming, the screen glowing, the cursor blinking in an empty search bar. He types, how to know when. Doesn't finish the sentence. Deletes it. Types, average length marriage before. Deletes that too. Closes the laptop. Outside, the afternoon light shifts. The room darkens incrementally. He doesn't turn on the lamp. Maribel comes home at 7, energized from whatever meeting kept her late. She finds him in the office, sitting in near darkness. Why are you sitting in the dark? She asks, flipping the light switch. He blinks against the sudden brightness. Just thinking. About what? Nothing specific. She leans against the doorframe. You've been weird lately. Weird how? I don't know. Quiet. More than usual. She crosses her arms. Is something wrong? He looks at her. Really looks. Tries to find evidence of the person he thought he married. Underneath the person she's become. Or maybe she's always been this person and he only recently noticed. No, he says. Nothing's wrong. She doesn't believe him. He can see it in her face. But she also doesn't want to dig. Doesn't want to transform a simple question into an excavation that might require effort or accommodation. Okay, she says. Well, I'm going to change. We should order dinner soon. She leaves. He hears her in the bedroom, hangers sliding, drawers opening. He stands, walks to the window. The street below is mostly empty. A dog walker passes. A delivery driver double parks, hazards blinking. Everything continues as it always has. Nothing has changed except his awareness of the pattern. Friday's work event is at a gallery downtown. Contemporary art Jonah doesn't understand. Hosted by a client Maribel needs to impress. She wears the black dress. Looks precisely as devastating as he anticipated. Stay close tonight, she says in the car. But not too close. You know what I mean. He knows. At the gallery, she works the room with practiced ease. Jonah trails at an appropriate distance. Close enough to be present. Far enough not to interfere. Someone, a man in an expensive suit with graying temples, approaches him near the bar. You're with Maribel Grant, right? The man says. Her husband. Jonah. Mark Eisenberg. I work with her on the Jensen account. He shakes Jonah's hand firmly. She's brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. She is, Jonah agrees. You must be very proud. I am. Mark nods, satisfied with this exchange. It's good she has someone stable at home. Women like that, they need a foundation. Someone who's not competing, you know. Jonah holds his drink without sipping. Right. My ex-wife. Mark continues, unprompted. She couldn't handle that I was never home. But that's the job. Some people get it, some don't. He gestures vaguely toward Maribel across the room. Maribel gets it. And clearly you do too. Jonah says nothing. Mark claps him on the shoulder. Good man. Enjoy the art. He walks away. Jonah stands at the bar, surrounded by paintings he doesn't see, holding a drink he doesn't want. Maribel finds him an hour later. Ready to go? In the car, she's satisfied. The evening went well. Connections were made. Impressions were managed. Mark Eisenberg loves you, she says. He said that. Not in those words. But I could tell. Jonah drives. The city passes. Red lights, green lights, the rhythm of traffic. At home, she kicks off her heels immediately, groans with relief. God, I'm exhausted, she says. But good exhausted. You know, yeah. She disappears into the bathroom. He hears water running, makeup being removed, the nightly ritual of transformation back to person from performance. He stands in the living room. The black dress is draped over a chair. He picks it up, hangs it carefully in the closet, returns to his office, sits at the desk, opens the bottom drawer. Inside, buried under old files and forgotten paperwork, is a folder he hasn't touched in months. He pulls it out, opens it, reads documents he already knows by heart. Account summaries, investment statements, net worth calculations that contradict everything Maribel assumes about their life. He closes the folder, puts it back, locks the drawer, turns off the light. In the darkness, he makes a decision that feels less like choice and more like acknowledgement of something already inevitable. He doesn't know exactly when he'll act, but he knows, now that he will. The dinner party is Maribel's idea. A celebration, she calls it, though Jonah can't remember what they're celebrating. She plans it with the precision of a military operation. Guest list, menu, timeline, seating chart. 16 people, she says, showing him a spreadsheet she created specifically for this. Mix of work and personal. Good energy. When? Jonah asks. Saturday. 2 weeks. You already invited people? I sent a preliminary date last week. Everyone's confirmed. She scrolls through responses. I told you about this. She didn't. But the correction feels pointless. What do you need me to do? He asks. Just be present. And pleasant. She looks up. Can you manage that? Yes. Good. She returns to her spreadsheet, already moving to the next logistical challenge. The 2 weeks pass quickly. Maribel orders flowers, hires a caterer, rearranges furniture. The apartment transforms into a stage. Jonah watches the preparation with detached interest, like observing someone decorate a space he doesn't actually live in. Saturday arrives. The caterer sets up by 4. Maribel changes outfits 3 times before settling on something that looks effortless but required significant effort. How do I look? She asks. Perfect, he says. She studies herself in the mirror, adjusts an earring. You should change too. Not the navy shirt. The gray one. The one with the good collar. He changes. Where's the gray shirt? Returns to find her arranging wine bottles by price point. Guests arrive in waves. Couples from her work. A few friends from college. Her sister and Derek. Everyone polished. Everyone performing the appropriate version of themselves. The apartment fills with noise. Laughter. Conversation that sounds meaningful but dissolves into nothing when examined closely. Jonah moves through it. Shakes hands. Accepts compliments about the space that Maribel decorated. Nods when people talk about markets, promotions, vacation plans. He's standing near the kitchen when Maribel's college roommate, Jessica or Jennifer, he forgets, corners him. You're so lucky, she says, wine glass half empty. Maribel's just incredible. I tell my husband all the time, I wish I had half her drive. She works hard, Jonah says. And you're so supportive. That's rare, you know? A lot of men can't handle it when their wives out-earn them. She leans in, conspiratorial. Derek told me Maribel basically runs your household. Financially, I mean. Jonah feels something shift. Not anger. Something colder. Did he? Jonah says. Oh, don't be embarrassed. It's actually really progressive. My husband would have a breakdown if I made more than him. She laughs. Men and their egos, right? She drifts away before he can respond. Across the room, Maribel is holding court. 5 people circle her, laughing at something she said. She's radiant. Completely in her element. Dinner is served at 8. The caterer has prepared something elaborate. Multiple courses. Wine pairings. Everyone makes appreciative noises. Maribel sits at the head of the table. Jonah is 4 seats down, positioned between Derek and someone's husband whose name he didn't catch. Between courses, Maribel taps her wine glass. The table quiets. I just want to say thank you, she begins. For being here. For being part of our lives. Murmurs of appreciation. Raise glasses. This year has been transformative, she continues. Professionally, personally. I've learned so much about what I'm capable of. About resilience. About building something meaningful. Jonah watches her. She's not reading from notes, but the speech has the quality of something rehearsed. And I couldn't have done any of it without support. Without people who believe in me. She pauses. Looks directly at Jonah. Smiles. And Jonah, for reminding me that ambition looks different for everyone. The table laughs. Gentle, knowing laughter. Several people glance at Jonah with sympathy or approval or something between the two. He doesn't move. Doesn't react. Just holds her gaze. She continues, moving on to other gratitudes, other acknowledgments. But the moment hangs in the air. The assumption she's made public. The role she's assigned him. Derek leans over. She's something else, huh? Jonah nods once. Takes a secure guy to be married to someone like that, Derek adds. Respect, man. Seriously. The dinner continues. Dessert arrives. Coffee. Liqueurs for those who want them. People migrate back to the living room. Conversations fracture and reform. Someone puts on music. The energy stays elevated, buoyant with wine and mutual congratulation. Jonah finds himself near the window, watching reflections in the glass. Behind him, the party continues. Ahead of him, the city spreads out, indifferent. Maribel appears beside him. Flushed. Happy. This is going so well, she says quietly. Everyone's having a great time. Yeah. She touches his arm. You've been quiet. But that's okay. You don't have to perform. Just being here is enough. He looks at her, studies her face, tries to find malice and finds only obliviousness. She genuinely believes she's being kind. Generous, even. Maribel, he says. He opens his mouth. Almost speaks. Almost says the thing that will change everything. Then someone calls her name. She's needed for a photo. A toast. Something. Hold that thought, she says, squeezing his arm before turning away. He watches her rejoin the group. Watches her pose for a photo, arm around Jessica or Jennifer, both of them laughing. The party doesn't end until after midnight. Guests leave in clusters, calling thanks over their shoulders, praising the food, the company, the evening. Derek is one of the last to leave. He shakes Jonah's hand at the door. Great night, Derek says. Then, quieter, you're a better man than me, brother. After everyone leaves, Maribel collapses on the couch, shoes already kicked off. God, I'm exhausted. But that was perfect, right? Tell me that was perfect. The caterer is still cleaning up in the kitchen. Jonah can hear dishes being stacked, containers being sealed. It was perfect, he says. She smiles, eyes closed. I knew it would be. I planned everything perfectly. He looks at her, at the woman who just spent an evening framing his entire existence as a footnote to her success. Who did it publicly? Who did it with affection? Maribel, he says. We need to talk. She opens one eye. Now? I'm exhausted. Tomorrow then. About what? He doesn't answer immediately. She's already drifting, half asleep, satisfied. Everything, he says quietly. But she doesn't hear. She's already asleep, head tilted back, mouth slightly open. The caterer finishes and lets himself out with a quiet goodbye. Jonah locks the door behind him. The apartment is suddenly silent. Debris of celebration everywhere. Empty glasses. Crumpled napkins. The ghost of 16 people's laughter. He stands in the middle of it. Turns off the lights one by one. Leaves Maribel sleeping on the couch. Goes to his office. Opens the locked drawer. Pulls out the folder. Sits in the darkness, holding it. Makes a decision that's already been made. Tomorrow, he thinks. Tomorrow, everything changes. Sunday arrives slowly. Maribel wakes on the couch at 7, disoriented and uncomfortable. She stumbles to the bedroom without speaking. Jonah hears the shower start, run for 20 minutes, stop. She emerges dressed for nothing in particular. Sunday clothes. Her face bare, hair damp. Coffee, she asks. He's already made it. Hands her a cup. She sips, winces. Too strong. Sorry. She adds cream until it's pale. Sits at the kitchen table. Scrolls through her phone, reviewing photos from last night. Smiling at each one. People are still texting me, she says. Everyone had such a good time. Jonah stands near the counter. Watches her. Waits for the right opening, though he's not sure what that looks like. You said we needed to talk, she says without looking up. I did. So talk. Still scrolling. Still not looking. He sets his cup down. Can you put the phone away? She glances up, mildly annoyed. It's Sunday, Jonah. I'm relaxing. Please. Something in his voice makes her pause. She sets the phone face down on the table. Looks at him properly. Okay. What's wrong? He doesn't sit. Stays standing. Last night. What you said during your toast. What about it? About me. About ambition looking different for everyone. She frowns, confused. That was a compliment. Was it? Yes. I was acknowledging that not everyone wants what I want. That's healthy. That's mature. She picks up her coffee. Why are you making this weird? Do you know what people think? He asks. About us. About our marriage. I don't care what people think. Derek thinks you support me financially. Jessica thinks you run the household. Mark Eisenberg thinks I'm your foundation because I'm not competing with you. He says it calmly. Facts, not accusations. They all think I'm smaller than you. Maribel sets her cup down harder than necessary. Where is this coming from? From you. From every comment you make about my work. Every decision you make without asking me. Every time you introduce me like I'm an accessory. Her face hardens. That's not fair. What's not fair? I have been nothing but supportive of you. Of your consulting. Of your choice to work less. Earn less. Have more flexibility. She stands now too. If you're insecure about that, that's your problem, not mine. Earn less, Jonah repeats. Yes, and there's nothing wrong with that. I've never made you feel bad about it. You've made everyone else feel justified in making assumptions. What assumptions? Her voice rises. That I'm successful? That I work hard? I'm sorry if my accomplishments make you uncomfortable, Jonah, but I'm not going to apologize for them. He watches her build the argument. Watches her reframe his concern into his insecurity. It's practiced. Efficient. I don't want you to apologize for your success, he says quietly. Then what do you want? I want you to stop talking about me like I'm failing at something. She laughs. Actually laughs. This is insane. You're creating problems that don't exist. Am I? Yes. She crosses her arms. You know what I think? I think you're having some kind of crisis. And instead of dealing with it like an adult, you're blaming me. He nods slowly. Okay. Okay, what? Sit down, he says. I don't want to sit down. Please. Something in his tone makes her hesitate. She sits. Wary now. Jonah walks to his office. Returns with the folder. Sets it on the table in front of her. What's this? She asks. Open it. She does. Slowly. Pulls out the first page. An investment summary. Her eyes scan it, not comprehending at first. Then comprehension arrives. He watches it happen. Watches her face change as she processes the numbers. The account names. The dates showing years of accumulation. I don't understand, she says. He pulls out another page. Another account. Another set of numbers. What is this? Her voice is smaller now. Investments. Holdings. Dividends. He says it without inflection. Money I've had since before we met. Money I continued to manage after. She flips through pages. More accounts. More evidence of a financial reality completely incompatible with the story she's been telling. Why didn't you tell me? She whispers. I did. Early on. You weren't interested in the details. That's not. She stops. Thinks. You said you did consulting. I do. Sometimes. When it's interesting. He sits across from her. The income doesn't matter. It never did. She's still staring at the papers. How much? He tells her a number. Not everything. Enough. The color drains from her face. Jesus Christ, Jonah. She looks up. Why? Why would you hide this? I didn't hide it. I just didn't correct your assumptions. That's the same thing. Is it? He leans back. You assumed I was smaller than you. Financially. Professionally. Socially. You built an entire narrative around it. I wanted to see what happened if I didn't interfere. That's manipulative. Maybe. Or maybe I wanted to see if you'd value me without knowing what I was worth. She stands abruptly. Walks to the window. Stands there with her back to him. You let me look like an idiot, she says. To who? To everyone. All those comments. All those assumptions. Her voice cracks. They all think I'm taking care of you. And that bothers you because? She spins around. Because it's humiliating. Because you let me believe something that wasn't true. You believed what you wanted to believe, he says. I just didn't argue. Tears now. Actual tears. This is cruel, Jonah. This whole thing is cruel. He doesn't respond. She wipes her face angrily. So what now? You've proven your point. You've shown me I'm a terrible person. What happens now? I don't know, he says honestly. You don't know? I know I can't keep living like this. Like I'm a supporting character in your story. So this is about revenge? About punishing me? No. He stands. Walks toward her. Stops a few feet away. It's about clarity. About seeing what remains when the assumptions are gone. And what remains? Her voice is desperate now. He looks at her. Really looks. At the woman he married. The woman who has spent years casually diminishing him without noticing. Without malice. Just without seeing. I don't know yet, he says. She sobs once. Covers her mouth. Turns back to the window. He leaves her there. Goes to his office. Closes the door. Sits in the silence. Outside, he hears her crying. Then moving. Then talking on the phone in a low, urgent voice. He doesn't go to her. Doesn't comfort her. Just sits. Waiting for whatever comes next. Maribel leaves the apartment at noon. Doesn't say where she's going. Just grabs her keys, her phone, her purse, and walks out. The door closes with deliberate softness, as if slamming it would constitute an admission of something. Jonah stays in his office. Listens to the silence. It sounds different now. Less like peace, more like aftermath. His phone buzzes an hour later. A text from Maribel's sister. What the hell did you do? He doesn't respond. Another text. 5 minutes later. She's at my house. She's a mess. Call me. He turns the phone face down. The apartment feels larger without her in it. He walks through rooms that suddenly seem like they belong to someone else. The couch she chose. The art she selected. The kitchen organized according to logic he never questioned. He makes lunch he doesn't eat. Sits at the table alone. The folder is still there, pages scattered where Maribel left them. He gathers them slowly, returns them to order, locks them away again. At 3, his phone rings. A number he doesn't recognize. He answers. Jonah? It's Catherine, Maribel's mom. He closes his eyes. Hi, Catherine. What's going on? Her voice is careful, controlled. Maribel called me very upset. She's saying things that don't make sense. What things? That you've been lying to her. About money. About your whole life. A pause. Is that true? I haven't lied. Then what would you call it? He thinks about this. Withholding, maybe. But not lying. That's semantics, Jonah. Is it? Catherine exhales slowly. I don't know what's happening between you two. But Maribel is devastated. Whatever point you're trying to make, you've made it. Now you need to fix this. I don't think I can. Of course you can. Marriage requires forgiveness. Compromise. She didn't ask, he says quietly. About me. About my work. About what I wanted. She just decided who I was, and I let her. So you punish her by hiding your finances? By making her feel foolish? I'm not punishing anyone. I'm just tired of being invisible. Catherine is silent for a long moment. She loves you, Jonah. Does she? Or does she love the version of me that makes her feel successful? No answer. I should go, he says. Wait. He hangs up, sets the phone down, stares at nothing. Monday morning, Maribel doesn't come home. Jonah dresses for nowhere, makes coffee, checks his email. There's a message from Mark Eisenberg. Subject line, checking in. Jonah, hope this isn't overstepping, but Maribel seemed off in our call this morning. Everything okay? Let me know if you need anything. Mark. He deletes it without responding. Another email. This one from Jessica or Jennifer. Hey, just wanted to say what a lovely evening Saturday was. You and Maribel are such an inspiring couple. Hope you're both well. EXO. The timestamp is from yesterday, before everything collapsed. He reads it twice, searching for irony, finding only oblivious sincerity. He closes his laptop. Tuesday, Maribel returns briefly while he's at the gym. He knows because her things have been moved. Some clothes gone from the closet. Toiletries missing from the bathroom. She took what she needed and left before he could return. A note on the kitchen counter, staying at Ashley's for a while. Need space to think. No signature. No apology. No accusation. He crumples the note. Throws it away. Wednesday, Derek texts him. Man, I don't know what happened, but Ashley says Maribel's really struggling. Maybe reach out. Jonah types, she knows where I am. Derek responds with a thumbs-up emoji. Then nothing. Thursday, his mother calls. Your sister told me something's wrong, she says without preamble. With you and Maribel. We're figuring things out. What does that mean? It means we're not together right now. His mother goes quiet. Then, what happened? It's complicated. Marriage is always complicated. That's not a reason to give up. I'm not giving up. I'm just stopping something that wasn't working. Was there someone else? Her voice tightens. Did one of you? No, nothing like that. Then what? He tries to find words that will satisfy her. Comes up empty. She didn't see me, he says finally. For years. She just didn't see me. And you're only bringing this up now? I brought it up when it became unbearable. His mother sighs. Jonah, honey, every marriage has power struggles. You work through them. You don't just walk away. I didn't walk away. I'm still here. You know what I mean. He does. He also knows explaining won't help. His mother has been married 43 years to a man who never challenged her, never disrupted the narrative she preferred. She doesn't understand what it means to be unseen by someone who claims to love you. I need to go, he says. Call me if you need anything, she says. Then, softer, I'm worried about you. I'm fine. He's not sure if that's true. Friday afternoon, his phone rings again. Maribel this time. He stares at her name on the screen. Lets it ring 4 times before answering. Hi, he says. Hi. Her voice is hoarse. Can we talk? We're talking now. In person. Please. He looks around the empty apartment. When? Tonight? I can come to the apartment. Or we can meet somewhere neutral if you prefer. Here is fine. 7. Okay. She hangs up without saying goodbye. He spends the rest of the afternoon in a strange suspension. Cleaning things that don't need cleaning. Organizing spaces already organized. At 6:30 he showers. Changes into clean clothes. Sits on the couch and waits. She arrives at 7 exactly. Uses her key. Stands in the doorway like she's entering a stranger's home. She looks different. Thinner, maybe. Or just tired. No makeup. Hair pulled back. The armor stripped away. Thank you for seeing me, she says. He nods toward the living room. She sits on the chair, not the couch. Maintaining distance. I've been thinking, she begins. Stops. Starts again. I've been trying to understand what happened. What I did wrong. He waits. And I keep coming back to the money. The fact that you hid it from me. She looks at him. I need to know why. Really why. I told you. You said you wanted to see if I'd value you. But that's not a reason, Jonah. That's a test. And you don't test people you love. Don't you? He asks quietly. Isn't that what you did? Every time you dismissed my work, made decisions without me, introduced me like I was your dependent, you were testing whether I'd push back. And I didn't. So you kept going. Her face crumples slightly. That's not fair. Maybe not. But it's true. She wipes her eyes. So what now? We just end this. I don't know. That's all you keep saying. I don't know. I don't know. Her voice rises. I need more than that, Jonah. I need to know if you still want this marriage. He looks at her. At the woman who has spent 5 days discovering that her entire understanding of their relationship was built on assumptions she never verified. Do you, he asks. Do I what? Want this marriage. The real one. Not the one you were performing. She opens her mouth, closes it, looks away, and in that hesitation, he finds his answer. The lawyer's office is downtown, 14th floor, floor-to-ceiling windows that make everything feel exposed. Jonah sits in the waiting room, reading nothing, watching a clock that moves too slowly and too fast at once. Maribel chose her own lawyer. Different firm. They agreed on that much during their second conversation, the one where words like mediation and assets replaced accusations and tears. His lawyer is a woman named Diana Reese, 50-something, direct without being unkind. She found him through a referral from Patricia at the bank, someone accustomed to discretion. Keep it simple, Diana told him during their first meeting. No fault. Equitable distribution. The cleaner we keep this, the faster it resolves. The door opens. Diana gestures him inside. Maribel is already there, sitting across the conference table with her lawyer, a man in his 40s, expensive suit, reading glasses perched on his nose. Maribel doesn't look up when Jonah enters, just stares at a legal pad covered in notes. Thank you both for coming, Diana says, taking her seat. We're here to discuss terms and hopefully reach an agreement without litigation. Maribel's lawyer, Stevens, his name is, nods. My client is amenable to that. The conversation proceeds with clinical efficiency. Assets, debts, property, everything reduced to line items and dollar amounts. The apartment is in both their names. Purchased 3 years ago with Maribel's bonus as down payment. Jonah paid the mortgage without mentioning it. Stevens proposes she keep it. Fine, Jonah says. Diana makes a note. The car is in Jonah's name. Paid off. Not worth arguing over. Maribel keeps it. Jonah doesn't care. Joint accounts are minimal. She preferred it that way. Easy to divide. The retirement accounts are where it gets complicated. Stevens slides a document across the table. My client believes she's entitled to half of all marital assets, including retirement funds. Diana barely glances at it. Your client is welcome to half of the marital contributions to those accounts. Not half of the accounts themselves. The accounts were funded during the marriage. Some were funded before, and some were kept deliberately separate, which was disclosed. Maribel finally looks up. I didn't know they existed. Lack of knowledge doesn't establish marital property, Diana says calmly. Your husband maintained separate accounts before your marriage and continued that separation after. That's legal. Stevens adjusts his glasses. We could argue commingling. Shared household expenses, lifestyle maintained by those funds. We could, Diana interrupts. But you won't win. And it'll cost your client more in legal fees than she'd recover. Silence. Maribel's jaw tightens. This is exactly what I mean. He let me think we were building something together while he kept everything separate. Mrs. Grant, Diana says, not unkindly, what your husband did or didn't disclose about his finances isn't relevant to the legal division of assets. Only what qualifies as marital property. It's relevant to me, Maribel says. Jonah speaks for the first time. Keep the apartment. Keep the car. Take half the joint accounts. I'll cover the legal fees for both of us. Everyone turns to look at him. That's generous, Stevens says carefully. It's fair, Jonah corrects. Maribel stares at him. I don't want your charity. It's not charity. It's closure. Her face flushes. You think you can just pay me off? Make this go away? I think we can end this without destroying each other, he says quietly. Isn't that what you want? She doesn't answer. Diana looks at Stevens. Do we have an agreement? Stevens confers with Maribel in whispers. She shakes her head. He whispers again. She closes her eyes. We'll need it in writing, Stevens says finally. Of course, Diana agrees. The meeting ends 20 minutes later. Paperwork to be drafted. Signatures to be scheduled. Everything proceeding with bureaucratic inevitability. In the elevator down, Maribel stands as far from Jonah as the space allows. You must feel very satisfied, she says. I don't. Right? Because you're the victim here. Her voice is bitter. Poor Jonah, married to the terrible, ambitious woman who didn't worship him enough. The elevator stops. Doors open. Neither of them moves. That's not what this is, he says. Then what is it? He turns to face her. It's me choosing not to be invisible anymore. You were never invisible. You chose to be quiet. You chose to hide. And now you're blaming me for not seeing what you refused to show. The doors start to close. He catches them. Steps out. She follows. They stand in the lobby. People move around them. Business continuing indifferently. Maybe you're right, Jonah says. Maybe I should have fought harder. Spoken louder. Demanded to be seen. He pauses. But you should have looked. She blinks rapidly. I did look. No. You glanced. And then you decided what you saw. And then you stopped looking. That's not. She stops. Swallows. I loved you. Loved, he repeats. Love. Present tense. I love you. Tears now. I'm angry and I'm hurt and I don't understand any of this. But I still love you. He nods slowly. I believe you. I believe you love the version of me that made sense to you. And you don't love me at all. He thinks about this. About whether love survives the death of illusion. I don't know who you are without the performance, he says honestly. And I don't think you know who I am without being smaller than you. She makes a sound, half laugh, half sob. God, you really have thought this through. I've had time. She wipes her face. I should go. He nods. She walks toward the exit. Stops. Turns back. For what it's worth, she says, I'm sorry. For making you feel invisible. Even if I don't understand how I did it. I know, he says. She leaves. He stands in the lobby for a while. Watching people come and go. Everyone carrying their own private dissolutions. Their own quiet endings. His phone buzzes. A text from Diana. You handled that well. Let me know if you need anything. He pockets the phone without responding. Outside, the city is bright and cold. He walks without destination. Passes restaurants where couples eat lunch. Shops where people buy things they don't need. Offices where lives proceed according to plan. He finds himself near the park. Sits on a bench. Watches children play while their parents watch phones. A woman sits beside him. Older. Feeding pigeons from a paper bag. Beautiful day, she says. It is, he agrees. You look sad, she observes. I'm getting divorced. Oh. She scatters more seed. Divorces are strange things. Everyone thinks they're endings. But sometimes they're just corrections. He looks at her. Corrections? You know? Like when you're driving and you realize you're on the wrong road. Divorce is just the turnaround. Doesn't mean the whole trip was wasted. She stands, crumples the empty bag, walks away. Jonah sits alone. Thinks about corrections. About wrong roads and wasted trips. About whether anything remains when the story collapses. His phone rings. His mother again. He silences it. Eventually, he stands. Walks back toward his car. Drives to the apartment that will soon belong only to Maribel. Packs more of his things. Methodically. Without emotion. Just moving forward. Because there's nothing else to do. 3 months later, Jonah signs the final papers in Diana's office. The marriage dissolves with a signature and a notary stamp. No ceremony. No witnesses beyond the legal requirement. That's it, Diana says, sliding him a copy. You're officially unmarried. He stares at the document. His name. Maribel's name. The date. The state seal. Everything formal and final, and somehow less significant than he expected. Thank you, he says. What will you do now? Diana asks. He hasn't thought about it. I don't know. Move, maybe. Find a new place. Fresh start. Something like that. He leaves the office with the papers in a folder identical to the one that started everything. 2 folders. One containing the truth about his finances. One containing the end of his marriage. Both thin enough to fit in a desk drawer. The new apartment is in a different neighborhood. Smaller. 11th floor. Windows that face east instead of west. He moved in 2 weeks ago with furniture he bought specifically for the space. Nothing from the old apartment. Nothing that carries memory. It's strange, living alone. Not bad. Just different. He makes coffee in the morning without checking if someone else already started a pot. Eats dinner at whatever time hunger arrives. Leaves books on tables without them being relocated to shelves. The silence is his now. Not negotiated. Not shared. Just his. He sees his sister in April. She flies in for a weekend, stays in a hotel, insists on taking him to dinner. You look different, she says over appetizers he didn't order. Different how? I don't know. Lighter, maybe. Less. She searches for the word. Less compressed. He considers this. Maybe. Mom's worried about you. Mom's always worried. True. His sister sips her wine. Are you okay, though? Actually okay. I think so. You think so? I'm figuring it out. He cuts into something with careful precision. Some days I'm relieved. Some days I'm sad. Some days I don't feel anything at all. That sounds healthy. Does it? She shrugs. Healthier than pretending you're fine when you're not. They eat in comfortable silence. His sister tells him about her kids, her husband, a promotion she's considering. Normal things. Life continuing its ordinary motion. Have you talked to Maribel? She asks eventually. No. Do you want to? I don't know what we'd say. His sister nods. Doesn't push. Later, walking back to his car, she hugs him longer than usual. I'm proud of you, she says. For what? For leaving something that wasn't working. That's brave. He doesn't feel brave. Just exhausted. But he accepts the compliment. In May, he runs into Jessica or Jennifer at a coffee shop. She recognizes him first. Jonah. Oh my God, hot. She's overly bright. Overly enthusiastic. How are you? How's Maribel? We're divorced, he says simply. Her face collapses into performative sympathy. Oh no. I'm so sorry. I had no idea. It's fine. When did this happen? Few months ago. She processes this. Recalculates. Was it? I mean, at the dinner party, you seemed fine. We weren't. God. I feel terrible. If I'd known, she stops. Are you doing okay? I am. She doesn't believe him. He can tell. But she accepts the answer because pushing would be awkward. Well, if you need anything. I mean, I know we're not close, but... She trails off. I appreciate that. She leaves quickly, probably already texting someone. The news will circulate. Another story. Another data point in other people's conversations. He drinks his coffee, reads a book, leaves when he's ready. June brings a text from Maribel. The first contact since the lawyers finalized everything. I'm clearing out the last of your things from the apartment. Let me know if you want them or if I should donate. He stares at the message. Tries to remember what he might have left behind. Decides it doesn't matter. Donate is fine. 3 dots appear. Disappear. Reappear. Okay. Then, a minute later, I hope you're well. He types, you too. Deletes it. Types, thank you. Sends it. No response. He sets the phone down. Feels something release. Not relief. Not sadness. Just completion. In July, he meets someone. Not romantically. Just a woman at a bookstore who recommends a novel he ends up loving. They talk for 20 minutes about nothing important. She doesn't ask what he does. Doesn't need his story. When she leaves, he realizes he smiled more in that conversation than he had in months of marriage. It's not a revelation. Just an observation. August arrives with heat that makes the city shimmer. Jonah takes a consulting project. Actual consulting, something that interests him. The client is a startup, chaotic and earnest. He works from coffee shops and parks. Submits deliverables that solve problems without needing credit. The money deposits into accounts that still feel strange to acknowledge. Not because of the amount. Because they're no longer secret. One evening, he's walking home when he sees them. Maribel and a man. Outside a restaurant. She's laughing. Looks happy. The man, tall, confident, touching her elbow, opens the door for her. Jonah stops walking. Watches from a distance. She doesn't see him. They disappear inside. He stands there, waiting for jealousy or anger or regret. Feels only a distant curiosity. She's moving forward. Building a new story. Probably one where she's careful about assumptions. Or maybe not. Maybe she's exactly who she's always been. He keeps walking. At home, he makes dinner. Eats on the couch. Watches a documentary about Antarctic explorers. Men choosing isolation. Finding something in the emptiness they couldn't find anywhere else. He understands that more than he used to. Before bed, he opens the drawer. Looks at the 2 folders. The financial one. The divorce decree. He pulls out the divorce papers. Reads them one last time. Then he tears them. Slowly. Methodically. Throws the pieces away. The finances stay. Those are real. Those matter. The marriage is over. The paper doesn't need to exist anymore. In September, his mother calls. Your father and I are worried, she says. You never talk about meeting anyone. About moving forward. I am moving forward. You know what I mean. I'm not ready for that. It's been 6 months, Jonah. I know how long it's been. Silence. Then, are you happy? He thinks about this. About whether happiness is the right metric. I'm not unhappy, he says. That's not the same thing. No, but it's better than I was. She accepts this. Barely. They talk about other things. Safer things. End the call with promises to visit soon. He doesn't know if he'll keep that promise. October. The leaves change. The air cools. Jonah wakes up one morning and realizes he didn't dream about Maribel. Didn't dream about the marriage. Didn't dream about anything that came before. Just slept. Woke. Continued. He makes coffee, opens his laptop, checks messages from the consulting project, responds thoughtfully, closes the laptop, looks around his apartment, his space, his silence, his choices. It's not perfect. There are still nights he feels the absence. Still moments he wonders if he made the right decision. Still questions without answers. But he's here, visible to himself. And maybe that's enough. Maybe that's all it ever needed to be. He finishes his coffee, gets dressed, steps outside into a day that belongs to no one but him, and keeps moving forward. Not because the story is over, but because it finally belongs to him to write.